Murder suspect. Hold on now. I want to make a joke, but I can't do it.
I mean, this is if he continues this way, I mean, his luck is going to run out very quickly.
Yo, this mic is bad.
Big 55 xQcOW.
Yo, Sky Callan. So yeah, I'm not. Yo, listen, Sky Callan. Listen,
Play
guys.
Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 or 2 PLS Daddy.
Work, as you mentioned, students getting out of school, and this person...
Oh my god. Yo, Sky Callan. Oh my god. Sky Callan. I'm gonna... Yo. I'm about to say some wild shit.
Usual move for
Oh my...
45 months. Can I get a welcome to the jungle? Big things to be done in our craft today.
Guys, I can't play audio. Yo, why is he going against traffic when it doesn't have to? Yo, this is crazy though.
They went into tracking mode because of the high speeds, dangerous driving, and the fact that they're
Oh my god, yo, dude, come on, man. How is there nobody at the office that wants to fix this shit? How is there nobody at the... How? Yo, okay, then you know what, just...
That's it. xQcOW.
Oh, hold on. Yo, this guy's crazy. He's whipping that thing. Hold on. I be getting money.
Alien.
Second. Is it 6 now or not? Is it 6 now or not? I can't do this anymore. Oh my god. All it takes is one person. One person. Yo, I will pay you personally. Anybody at the SkyCal office, go to production and fix the goddamn audio before we lose our minds. Me and the boys have agreed. On everybody's soul, we've agreed. We're never watching SkyCal ever again. And any of these shit is, if you guys don't fix the fucking mic, we've all agreed to this. We've all agreed. Everybody agrees to that shit.
Pop Nemo.
No, the next one is either. Come on, bro. Oh, it was so shit if I just cut it.
This guy is looking for a serious accident.
Hey, this is a murder suspect apparently. No, stop it. Don't make the joke. Don't make guys, stop it. Stop it.
Can I get a welcome to the jungle,
Guys,
Mr. Cow, long time lurker?
Guys. Guys, it's a murder suspect in LA. It's not one guy. There's not only one murder suspect in LA. Like, Jesus Christ, man, it's just crazy.
Welcome to the jungle, man. xQcOW.
Yeah, stop it, Jack, stop it. Again, I get this. You're just being so bad. Bro, it's awful. Bro, it's awful.
Speed laugh.
So, come on, just saying, is this like a hatchback or something, or what? This is like a Honda. It is not a Tesla. It is not a Tesla. Guys, it is not a black Tesla. Do not check the trunk. I repeat, do not check the trunk of this vehicle.
Hi X. Holy cow, Mr. Juice, the big 4-0, thanks for being there for chat and I. 47 months.
Yo,
boy, I'm
Santa.
years hell out.
Thanks, 5 on it. Oh, hold on. Chat, I guess I know. This driver chat, you guys, uncommon to a lot of the other drivers doing this chat. Even though he doesn't know where he's going, he's also erratic. But hold on. I just another now I'm about audio now.
That's what I got to do to join a ball league squad.
He's just tweaking. He's just doing whatever. Like, Jay, he doesn't even have like a short-term plan. He's just like, bro, he's just whipping it.
That is a murder suspect that is believed to be behind the wheel, now underneath the 110 freeway. He was on Fig earlier, now making a left turn, maybe
Chris on air!
That's going to put him onto the southbound side.
I just got the chills. I just got the chills.
A murder suspect refusing to pull over here. There are at least 6 or 7 black and whites keeping up with the suspect. LAPD fully engaged with the suspect.
Look at the energy.
He might be even
Look at
showing
the close
signs of
comms. I
getting back
can't
off
do
here.
it
We'll see if he
anymore.
commits to the freeway or gets back off on Fig here. He's going to get off at Figueroa. It looks like he's taking that ramp. He's right behind the sign there. Did he stay on the free? Josh, did he stay on? He's on there. Okay. He's weaving all the way over to the left lane, back on the shoulder, guys.
I couldn't match the audio with the footage, though.
On the run here, and the driving appears to be getting a little more aggressive the longer we keep an eye on it. But now he's over in the express lanes, southbound on the 110 freeway. He's moving away from us. Incidentally, want to let you know we're going to try and transition through LAX's airspace and keep the camera on that suspect. But a very dangerous pursuit here in South LA, guys.
Chris, do you have any details on that murder situation, the allegation?
5 years, Juicer. And
guys,
We do not, but you know, it was pretty clear from the call out.
This is what you smoke in LA. Look at it. This is what you smoke every day. You make fun of vapors. You vape all day. You vape this shit.
Or when
Bro,
that homicide took place, or any of those details, quite frankly, we just don't know.
You are taking
the
that
details
in,
surrounding
bud.
the original crime. But murder is the original want, and they are treating this very seriously. You could tell just from the tactics here, they are being aggressive with it, and he is refusing to cooperate here. So they have dedicated at least 6 or 7 units. They are prepared to dedicate more. This is not one of those pursuits that they are likely to let go just based on the traffic that we're hearing over the radio. And now that he's on the freeway, it's really going to allow them to deploy more and eventually maybe even get CHP involved here.
Suspect is here.
Again, this guy weaving through rush hour traffic, putting a little bit of distance now between him and that primary unit.
Yeah, bear with us because we just saw him go by the Century Boulevard exit. As we all know, that's often the way to get into LAX. So Air 7 dealing with some LAX restrictions, but they're staying on top of this pursuit. There he is as he's weaving through traffic. Police are still behind him, Chris, but I've seen that they've given him a little space.
Yeah, I don't think it's intentional, but the traffic just is not allowing them to follow that with that full pursuit package. They're having a little bit of trouble navigating. A lot of last-minute weaving that we're seeing here. It almost looked for a second like he was going to get off the freeway, weaved all the way over to the express lanes, and now he's really jockeying in between this rush hour traffic here. So they are still within sight. They can barely keep a visual at this point, as far as I can tell, trying to figure out if there's an airship overhead. Is there a helicopter? Okay, I'm being told there's actually 2 helicopters right overhead here. So they're going to let those helicopters follow at a safe distance.
Give me,
if they can't keep up
give me
with
air
it.
map.
As you can see, just in this shot here, getting past the 105 freeway, there's a lot more volume on the southbound side. That's why he's resorting to those express lanes. If he stays with the express lanes, you'll see all of those black and whites get over with him.
Okay, then I'm not
sooner rather than later. But that's going to allow him to speed up a little bit here. But they are trying to keep up with him. They don't want to put anybody else's life in danger, and they have the luxury of those helicopters now overhead, able to call out that location.
Chris, we're just getting word that the CHP is being notified. So this is LAPD on his tail at this point?
Sure.
Right, so what they'll likely do is inform CHP what they're dealing with on the 105 freeway. CHP will track this with them. They will be ready to participate, ready to engage if LAPD asks for that assistance. It appears at this juncture that LAPD is going to maintain control of this pursuit, but these things can change pretty quickly depending on the circumstances.
It's a Kevy Volt?
So that is it's almost like a courtesy at this point to let CHP know, listen, this is what's coming down the 110 freeway. If this continues down all the way into another freeway, into another county,
no, it's a Toyota.
yeah,
You didn't
they
see
may
it.
at some point bring in the resources of California Highway Patrol. Right now, they're going to be letting those CHP units ahead of him know, and if they need any help, maybe blocking off some of those entrance ramps or exit ramps, very difficult to do in rush hour traffic, but they can use CHP to help out with those things as well. So he's now back in the express lanes, southbound on the
these
110
guys
freeway.
done. They
Right
got the
now,
whole
still an
squad on
LAPD
the
pursuit,
Look at
2
this,
airships
bing
overhead,
bong, bing
about
bang
7 units
bong.
that I counted behind him, but they have fallen back about a couple hundred yards here. There's that primary unit still with a clear visual of that suspect right there on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. The suspect doing about freeway speeds, maybe just over the speed limit right now. We'll go ahead and throw up our real-time speed tracker as we push back in on that driver, and you'll let that calibrate just a second here.
Yo, that bumper's a piece of shit, though. What is that, chat?
Under 100 miles per hour, maybe even closer to 90, I would say. He's probably not quite doing 110, but he's actually
blacked out
speeding up,
windows.
so maybe that is a little more accurate than I'm guessing. But right now, he does have that left lane to really push the pedal to the metal.
Guys, I don't want to make this weird. I'm gonna make it too crazy.
As we get
but
further towards
this actually might be
he's in a
one
little
of the
Toyota,
highest
but it
risk
could
chase
really
we've had
move, as you can see
in
now.
weeks.
The road is really opening up, but the police, LAPD, pretty close to him.
The stakes are high, the risk is high,
they should be
the
able to
traffic is high, the windows are completely blacked out,
and now
illegal.
It's just a matter of just seeing where he's going to go.
Can I get a
He's definitely
salutation?
He's running erratically, no
the
plan.
Other cars on the freeway, which we believe are going 60, 65, maybe 70. He's blowing by them. So maybe you're right that he is going, close to 100 miles an hour. Thankfully, traffic is.
40 Roger. 40 Roger.
Avoiding a slowdown there.
23 Roger.
It's just so very dangerous.
Who's Roger?
He's really speeding up now, using that left lane, actually on the shoulder now, to really accelerate past all of this traffic. Really tenuous with all of these innocent motorists in play here. Really limits the options for LAPD. And now it does indeed look, as he crosses underneath the 405 freeway, he is committing to the southbound.
Nobody said David.
But
Nobody said that.
Asking for California Highway Patrol to prepare to take it
It
over.
is the hand in the wheel like a bitch ass. Oh, he's honking. He's honking. He's spamming the honk. This motherfucker. He's spamming the honk.
And then once CHP can get their pursuit package together, a pursuit package being a primary unit and a secondary unit and a backup unit at the very least, to be able to execute that felony stop once this vehicle comes to a complete stop, and hopefully this comes to a peaceful resolution. CHP will be prepared to bring the suspect in custody.
On his phone.
But until they're ready to take it over, LAPD is going to stay right behind him. So they're in the middle of that transition.
Dude, he's making sure that he's got one hand on the honk. One hand on the honk, one hand on his phone. It's crazy. This guy does not give a fuck.
That could invite other agencies to get involved, or if California Highway Patrol is ready,
8
they will
cars
take
and
it
1
over.
supervisor
So
in the
it's really
pursuit.
a handoff operation that is now underway here, and it complicates things
Up on
when we see
110 for
all of this
Florida.
traffic, considering the time of
Chat,
day.
chat. Chat, look at the
all
aura.
other variables here, not to mention the intel that we may not be aware of, but certainly it appears law enforcement is well aware.
5-star
of the crime here and the
guaranteed,
danger of
confirmed.
that suspect behind the wheel. If he is armed and dangerous, that will play into their decision making. It'll decide whether they
only two of those are
execute
PD,
a
I think.
maneuver. What tactics they decide to employ are very pivotal.
Check him.
And those that intel is obviously
Yeah,
very
two
informative.
PD,
we'll
3
see
media.
how LAPD plays it, but right now they are trying to hand this off to CHP.
Yeah, a moment ago you gave us a
Which is
pretty
pretty
clear
common.
look inside that car, and in the beginning it was very clear that he was.
Yo, Logan, you need to get the
honking
plane
his
out
horn.
there. I'm
That's
not
why his
lying.
hand was in the middle of his steering wheel. He was literally honking his horn as he was going by and warning people to get out of his way. And then a little bit after that, he was on his cell phone. I don't see anybody else in the car right now, at least in the passenger side. It's very difficult to see in the back seat right now, but he is he is bent on getting away any way he can
Should I go
and
full
really
send,
accelerating
Jet?
through this traffic.
I don't
He
know.
really is
It's
driving
just gonna-
recklessly, and you mentioned the cell phone. It looked to me at one point that he was actually texting with two hands. I saw the left hand move as if he was, fiddling with the phone. All of that driving very fast on that shoulder puts everyone else at risk.
Yeah, we caught a glimpse of that cell phone too. Obviously tinted windows there, but it does appear, as you
Chat.
mentioned, guys, that passenger seat is empty. Not clear if there's anybody else in the back, but it does appear, in all likelihood, the suspect may be by himself here. But right now, he's got two hands on the wheel. We were able to take another peek through that front windshield there, but he does appear to be trying to communicate with somebody.
Chat.
He does have full
Movies,
control of the vehicle.
society
He's
will tell you,
navigating the
Chat,
traffic pretty well,
to drive
albeit at extreme speeds at times as he tries to
10-2.
get past some of this traffic.
Wrong.
But a bulk of the volume
You should
is
always
now
be driving
behind us. And as we look further
9-3.
down towards the port of Los
9-3
Angeles,
is
as the 110
scientifically,
freeway takes us past
ergonomically better.
Sepulveda here, he
Better.
has a wide open
You use your
110
thumb
freeway to play with
on
much
the on the
milder
curve,
traffic. But
like
eventually,
that.
the 110 freeway, as you guys know, will come to an end here pretty shortly. He has opportunities to
I
get
personally,
off.
I don't
In
understand
fact,
any of
think
that,
he's
'cause
only
I
got
drive
a
it.
couple more
I drive
exits.
at 6,
Eventually,
7.
you'll either end up on surface streets or potentially over towards the Vincent Thomas Bridge if he continues towards the port here. But, we don't know where this originated. We know the pursuit started in Hollenbeck, but not clear whether he is heading towards a specific destination, where he resides. Any of those details right now still open question marks.
Yeah, or if he even knows where he's going at this point, if he even knows that the freeway is going to be coming to an end, which could create some complications as he starts to navigate surface streets.
I'm banned from talking on stream for another minute, Chat.
I'm sorry, David, one more time. I lost you just a second there.
Yeah, I was just talking about where he might be going and assuming what his behavior is going to be once he starts having to negotiate these surface streets. But if he does get off this freeway, then
So where's he going?
does the
Any idea?
transition still take place, as in the CHP, or maybe the LAPD just stays with it?
It's a great question, because now we're going to be in San Pedro, which is going to be in
Nowhere to go.
LAPD's jurisdiction. So they will have the chance here to maintain control of this pursuit, even if they hand it off to a different division. We have been in the
Look at that modified bumper. Holy aerodynamics.
on the freeway.
Cat
did
shit on the
prompt them
fucking
to
roof
hand
as
it
well.
off or attempt to hand it off. What I'd like to do when you have a chance, Josh, just want to peek over at that primary unit, that SUV behind him. I think that is still LAPD. I just want to double check. That is still LAPD right behind him. So
This guy's
what we
also
know
got
for
the
sure
fucking
is
hand
that
through the
that
steering wheel.
handoff has not taken place yet. CHP is still getting prepared, getting units in place, but it's not easy. They have to have the units available. Here
shit.
He's getting off. He's going to cut somebody off. He's going to go over the gore point here, and he's going to get off at.
Damn, this guy.
let's see. We'll
Damn.
get the section here. It's at the terminal. Island
Unintentional
exit.
block.
But he's now
Holy
gonna be
civilian,
on
I cannot.
surface streets here momentarily as this ramp takes him underneath the 110 freeway and eventually
PDC
towards
in chat.
the Vincent
I have
Thomas
a
Bridge.
first
He is
date in
actually
about
about
an
to
hour
get
and I
on
am
the
nervous.
Vincent Thomas
Any
Bridge. If he
tips?
doesn't take this final exit here, which will be Harbor Boulevard, if he bypasses Harbor, he will end up on the bridge and he will take
Not
us
slowing
all
down,
the way
why?
into the port. It looks like he's hugging that left lane, and if I'm not mistaken, he is now committed. He is now committed to,
He's changing
over the
his
gore
mind.
point. This is his last
Wow.
chance.
No.
A little last-minute maneuvering there really points to what you were
Pump
talking
fake,
about,
double,
guys.
double.
He really may not know where he wants to take this. He possibly
Oh, look, he's
is
slowing
just
down.
making this up, going the wrong way.
U-turn.
U-turn.
He's now taking
Damn.
the entrance
Oh, no,
ramp,
look at
going
this.
off
Oh, my goodness.
These cops going head-on with these semi-tractor trailers that are trying to get towards the port, now going the wrong way on Palos Verdes Street as he comes head-to-head with other motorists.
Oh, shit!
Coming head-to-head
what is he doing?
Innocent drivers trying to get
Bumper
onto the
off.
bridge here. He is now going the wrong way on the entrance ramp, getting off at Harbor Boulevard, making a wild left-hand turn here, and really ramping things up. This is going to change the entire profile of this pursuit. That maneuver is enough to attract a lot more attention.
Fuck the cones!
Over the dividing
He missed two of them, which is kind of weird, but it's all good.
Trying to just put any amount of distance that he can between him and those primary units. But
oh, that dead block!
We have clear desperation. There's a guy directing traffic right here. He's like, what's going on with this guy? Well, he has no idea. This is a major pursuit coming right through the port here, and this suspect is desperate. He is now desperate.
I said it earlier, this guy has no plan, zero. Not even short term.
Behavior now behind the wheel than we've seen at any point during this pursuit as he tries to figure out his next move here. I hesitate to say,
like, you know, he's nerding, twigging the fuck out. Like,
but
no, even
doesn't look good if he continues
in usual
this type
chases,
of driving.
they have like a short term, like, oh, I'm gonna go here, go there. This guy's got nothing.
All those vehicles without any regard for anybody's safety.
He's just turning the wheel around, man.
Violations of multiple traffic rules, and obviously LAPD can't go the wrong way the way he is willing to go. So now they have to reconfigure their strategy, figure out how to get units ahead of him. I don't far back. I doubt they were able to go the wrong way the way he was.
Six, Haley joined it.
At the bottom of the screen. So there is somebody
bang,
prepared
bing, boom, bing,
bang. Against traffic again, and now getting back on the 110. He went through that intersection, past cross traffic, almost got into another head-on collision, and is now going northbound on the 110 freeway. He's going to get back on the freeway here, and just look at the damage there. That was not there before, I do not believe. I think that is new bumper damage as he ran up against one of those oncoming vehicles. There was a minor collision there, and that may start to affect the vehicle. We'll see what he does here, but now he's northbound on the 110 freeway, now going the opposite direction. We'll see, guys. This is getting a lot more dangerous by the second.
We need to look at the video. I think you're right. I think he hit one of those vehicles. I don't know if it was one of the big trucks.
No, it's when he swerved in between the diagonal.
Smashed into somebody.
I cannot turn the video feed. I can't do it.
Squeeze his way through when he was going the wrong
way.
Guys, he's about to
I'll refresh.
I do believe the front bumper has damage as well from an earlier collision. It looks that way to me, but this is about to go.
And when this does go, it creates a terrible situation for drivers behind him. That's going to fly onto some car. You know, the bumper there will likely fly into traffic lanes.
Yeah, that bumper is really concerning me. That bumper, if that bumper flies off, it's only being held on by a couple of bolts now. If that bumper flies off, that could create a real hazard for any number of the drivers that are in the vicinity here.
True.
And it's also going to affect the vehicle at some point here.
The lady on this show, I'm telling you, she always says that things in like a calm manner, kind of oblivious, and says the most concerning shit of all time. Like, if this wheel flies off, it could fly into a family of 6 and killing everybody on board. Like,
about a half mile, being told, about a half mile back is the closest unit.
Jesus.
So once again, it's falling on that helicopter to maintain a visual of this suspect as he comes speeding up the 110 freeway. Now, you noticed as we got past Sepulveda earlier, things really got lighter on the 110
I'll play
freeway.
the other video feed. Okay, I'll play the other video feed.
He doesn't have much traffic. I would say for another quarter mile, maybe another half
I'll keep the audio from Chris, though.
Then things are about to change. There's a lot more traffic
this is more up to date
coming up if he continues in this direction. I wouldn't even be surprised if he tries to get off the freeway. He seems to be more comfortable on the freeway, though, in general, which is why he may be just decided to just get right back on. He just didn't feel comfortable with those surface streets.
200!
On the video on your right, that is when he was going the wrong way. Watch closely. We think somewhere around here.
Oh shit! Losing air.
It was the pickup truck.
Yeah,
that's what he had hit was the pickup truck, and then jarred that back bumper loose. But earlier in the pursuit, it looked like his front bumper had some damage to it, which may have happened earlier in this pursuit before we joined it, because he has been driving recklessly, undoubtedly, as you can see, and
wait, is this Chris's voice?
Getting away anyway.
Been busy with
especially
job
with all
and
that
haven't
traffic.
Oh, that's right.
to
The
watch
freeway
much.
spike
Hope you've been
is
well
something they will try, but
xQcOW.
it's something we see more common up in the desert or maybe up the Grapevine, where they've got a long stretch of freeway and empty pavement to just lay down that spike strip. I think you're right. I have never quite seen one in the middle of rush hour traffic. They were able
I
to
missed it.
effectively create
I'm
a
so mad.
traffic break, and then right at the traffic
we'll go back and
break,
look at it.
lay down a perfect spike strip right as he cleared
Replay.
the traffic jam there. And now it looks like he's thinking about getting off the freeway, getting off of the 110 freeway now.
Oh,
as that
shit!
tire is already coming off.
Yeah.
That tire was immediately
And boom, done.
deflated. There
Now
goes the
better.
tire. Now he's riding on one rim. I don't know what the other side of the vehicle looks like, but he's getting off now.
He's stopping up.
LAPD
No, he's
right
not.
behind him. He's coming between these two vehicles here. We know he's
Oof.
willing to ram into other cars. He's done it
Oh,
already.
shit.
He's gone the wrong way. He has sped right through traffic, and now it looks like this vehicle is on borrowed time. Tyler,
Chad,
when we
this
get
is
a chance
it's
at some
because
point,
it's a
we come up
four-wheel
the
drive,
passenger
right?
seat, I would like to see just what that other
GG,
side
GG,
of the
GG.
vehicle looks like, but
Yes,
this
four-wheel
vehicle
drive,
is
GG.
coming apart at the seams. We've
It's gotta
got one
be.
tire completely gone. We've got the bumper dangling off here. There is other damage, and we're going to see how much longer this
It
holds up.
cannot
But right
be
now,
real
he
wheel
just turned
drive.
onto Del
You
Amo
saw him
Boulevard
spin
off
on the
Big,
fucking on the
and he's
acceleration.
slowing down
That's not physically
dramatically.
possible.
Also, the fender is also interfering with that front right wheel. So, it's a Toyota. It'll go the distance, but it is on borrowed time, guys.
Absolutely. And if you are just joining us, we have been on this pursuit. What's very
Chat.
important about this pursuit
Chat.
is we
might
believe that
get
this is a
a
murder
red
suspect. So
molten rim
beware of that. If
event.
this does come to an end and he jumps out of the vehicle, we need to be prepared for any possible scenario. We believe this is a very dangerous person that is in this car.
Oh,
and
shit,
there's
wait.
the damage. Front
GG,
right tire
GG,
as
GG.
well. The
It's over.
passenger side tire looks like they got that as well. They lured him with
right.
that shoulder, Chris, and he fell for it. He went right at it and went right at them and that spike strip.
Chad, it's over. Four-wheel
was
drive
a
car,
work of art
no
for
tires, no
law
traction.
enforcement here.
He's
I
going to
mean,
be
they're
all over the
gonna
place. He won't be able to turn anything.
Congratulating that officer that laid down just a perfect spike, and great teamwork by that squad to, again, create the traffic break, create the opportunity, and basically bait him, like you said, and eventually knock out both of those front tires. That right tire is now on borrowed time. He is slowing
Chat.
down dramatically.
Chat, on
This is
four-wheel
a
drive,
slower
chat,
speed
you're-
pursuit now,
the
coming
physics
northbound
are
on Main Street off of
exacerbating
Del Amo, coming up on Francisco Street,
the car
and,
because
he's
it's
probably
steering and accelerating
going as
on the
fast as he
same
can, because
system,
I just
plus the
don't think
weight
it's
and
gonna
the
get
braking,
much
making the
more
car
power,
go downwards
with
onto
all
the
of
front tires. You understand?
Damage here, but you never know. I mean, he's going to try and take this until the thing is completely dead. But it looks like that right tire was severely impacted. We know the left tire came off. Yeah, he's riding on a flat, and maybe even the rear tire too.
Yeah.
Maybe even
Yeah,
that
it looks that way.
right rear as well.
Might have been affected.
So it's
But
unusual that you get both. It's unusual that you get both, because what happens is
You might get another
you
car,
have
you might-
those
you might get
spikes.
another car, I
Those
agree.
spikes are like little straws
Oh.
that are pointy, and they go right into the.
He's looking, he's looking.
Right into the rubber, and basically allows the tires.
Chad, he's looking for
to
another car,
slowly
I'm telling you.
deflate. And occasionally, if he turned the wheel at all, especially if he tried to avoid the spike at the last second, maybe he was able to get some more spikes in the back as well. It looks like that back tire is misbehaving as well here.
Right, but we're now facing a new set of potential dangers. He's slowing down. We know that he's
Oh,
wanted
lady,
for murder. We don't know if he's armed. So this could, we could see another level of risk to law enforcement and the people around him.
Clearly, yes, clearly a violent person behind the wheel, at least suspected of murder. And you can see now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units behind him. That's been about the case since the beginning of this pursuit. By the way, it does look like he's coming even closer
Chris, we're
to
gonna
a
run the
crawl
video.
here. So,
We're running the video of that spike strip to show how it worked, and we were watching him go down the shoulder of the road. This is at the 90 way, right at the center, 91
video?
freeway, right at the center divider, where they threw that spike strip out there, and they got him, and the results were almost immediate. But Chris, back to the live picture, is this a place where they would do the pit maneuver, or are they just going to wait this out?
You know, it's doable. I mean, they have that
doable, but
median
then
there.
nothing's on the
They
mountain.
may even have control of traffic ahead of him. I
juice,
don't.
5 years
Actually,
of mold,
they don't have
of
control of
xQc
traffic
saying
ahead of them,
bro,
but they
on
do have
repeat.
enough pavement
Where
to
did
play
my
with.
life go?
The key here is if they have any information regarding
Could be armed,
whether
bit
he is
risky,
armed or
turning the
not.
car
If
towards
he
the
is a
officer and
known
shit like that.
gunman,
Terrible.
They will be less likely to execute a pit maneuver. However, if it's a stabbing suspect, they may play it a little bit differently. So it just depends on what they are comfortable with. There is an incident commander making the call at each and every step of this
xQcOW.
pursuit. But right now, that spike strip had exactly the desired effect. It was an impeccable spike attempt, successful spike, and that may be enough to just exhaust what is left of the rubber on this car.
Huge.
And so with enough open road here up Main Street, they may just take it a little bit further here before they think about a pit maneuver. If it gets to that, they can use that, but that's something they'll probably save in their back pocket.
Yeah. Well, he's driving slow enough that it's possible
Driving
LAPD
slow to
officers are
conserve
ahead
the
of
front
him
right tire.
and waiting in some position to try to get him to stop completely.
Driving to conserve the tire.
Coming up on a busy intersection here. This is going to be Main Street at Victoria. It's the first major intersection since we've gotten off here after that
See,
spike.
no
And now
turning.
it looks like he's stopping for traffic, now going through the intersection, continuing
48
northbound
months,
on
can I
Main
get a
at a
welcome to
very
the
slow
jungle?
speed, maybe about 25 miles per hour, Josh, something like that. Not more than 30 miles per hour at the very
Because going
most.
fast and turning
So,
will,
yeah, right
will
about
make
28 miles per hour
the rubber get
as
off.
he just just expends whatever is left, because his time is, he knows his time is numbered. I mean, he's on borrowed time here. He's really enjoying his final minutes of freedom. What he decides to do at the end of this pursuit is obviously the open question.
No,
Will he
here comes
run
lady,
for
here
it?
comes
Will he
lady.
be aggressive? Will he cooperate?
Production? Yeah, lady. Now
you can
tell
only
them
hope
that this could
will
end the
as
whole
peacefully
family
as
and how
possible.
more people could die
But
from
what
this
we
right now.
can,
Tell them this right now.
kind of breathe a sigh of relief about is that those speeds have come down dramatically, and that is, again, thanks to that perfect spike strip, which really has now really decreased the risk involved in this pursuit. Now they have the luxury of time on their side. They've got all
When
the
it goes bad,
resources
that's not
at
true
their
at all, though.
disposal, and they're lucky enough
I
to have
glaze women on these bodies all the time when they do
Main
good.
Street as he
It's just her
continues
character.
now, underneath the 91 freeway.
Wait,
Yeah,
this
he's
spot.
still around a lot of folks right now that could be collateral damage if something gets really bad here. But you're right, he may be at that point where he has nothing to lose, especially if he's a murder suspect. This could be his last little bit of freedom that he has, and we don't know what his state of mind is at this point. Maybe they are content to just ride this out. Maybe, if they're lucky, they could even communicate with him through his cell phone. We don't know if that's possible, but it has happened
Guys,
in the past.
it's not.
If they could talk this guy down
So,
and
yo,
get
I
him
can't,
to
man, I
surrender
can't.
peacefully, that would be the ultimate scenario to end this on, but you never know. And if there's a lack of communication with him, then it's a wait and see. They probably won't have people up front to stop him because they don't want to force a violent exchange.
We have no
Maybe they're
evidence.
more willing to
Say,
wait
this is
out,
David, and he has
let
to
him get
stop it.
fatigued, and then
Stop
give
that
up.
right now. Jesus, man.
Yeah, and that really comes down to the agency, right? So you're right. In all likelihood, LAPD will not box him in, but it is one of the tactics that we've seen a little bit more
But
frequently recently.
it is
where
a murder
California
suspect in
Highway
LA,
Patrol,
so
for example,
could be anything,
would be
anybody really.
willing to kind of get in front of him. So again, these decisions vary from agency to agency. I think right now you're going to see a cautious approach as we start to see a little
losing
bit
more
of
rubber.
smoke
Yeah,
emanating from
it's
that
gonna
front right
boom,
tire.
bang.
Some debris coming off. There goes the tire.
Yeah, that's it.
He's
Done. He's
now,
done. It's over.
On two rims.
GG's.
The front two
Can't
tires
turn.
have now completely come off. He's driving on nothing but rim on the front, and those rear tires are just barely holding up. At some point, he will be on just, he'll just start grinding that metal into the pavement. And yet again, just look at how this Toyota is behaving. I mean, it's still moving despite the fact that the tires.
It's a
have now
front-wheel
fallen.
drive.
We've seen this
Reminder,
before. Other pursuit suspects
this car is
in
useless
cars,
now.
driving on wheels, so much so that sparks start to fly.
And the car catches on fire.
that's-
We've seen it about
Yes.
3 times this week already.
Wow. That is something. He's going to have a real hard time.
There's no guiding factor for the car to turn anymore.
But trying to turn this thing on metal rims,
why would the car turn when he's turning the wheel?
Exceptionally difficult. I'm sure he knows that as well.
The rim lining, that's about it. So you have to be at low speed and even then loses traction because it's
a good point. We'll see if he knows that. You know, depending on his state of mind, he may or may not realize that. If he tries to turn that wheel, it could absolutely play into the favor of law enforcement and kind of bring this vehicle to a stop. His best move, you're right, is to just keep going in a straight line. Going up Main Street all the way into South LA, you know, he could get a little bit more distance. But if he tries to turn that wheel, it could change the behavior.
Well, it's
of the
one of those modified, like,
so if he's aware of that,
different model
we'll see.
of
But
a
right
certain
now,
class.
this is a desperate individual behind the wheel of this vehicle. The driving that we've seen here, the close calls. It's almost a miracle that nobody has gotten hurt. We have seen at least one collision. You could see heavy damage on the front and the rear. Now coming up on another busy intersection. This is going to be Main Street at Redondo Beach Boulevard.
Look at that.
Slowing
It's spinning.
down,
Zoom on that.
Sirens
Zoom on that.
blaring through the intersection, giving all of those motorists
Zoom
the
on that.
opportunity
Zoom
to
on
allow
that.
for this caravan of LAPD units to continue the
Let us see
slow-speed
it
chase
then.
northbound on Main Street, coming up on 152nd Street, just north of Redondo Beach Boulevard.
And you can see the other vehicles stopping. I'm sure the lights and sirens are giving them, you know, the information they need to know to stop and just be cautious and let officers and this pursuit suspect go by. We've been following this pursuit since about a few minutes after 4 o'clock. It started in the
This better not be like last time, man.
And this
If
suspect
this guy goes for carjacking, they better stop this fucking bitch-ass madman.
Our local freeway
They better
in the
stop
South
the
LA
man.
area all the way to Long Beach very recklessly at high speeds. And then we saw law enforcement lay down that perfectly planned spike strip on the 110 freeway, and that is when he lost his tires, and now he continues on at slow speeds.
We still don't have information on exactly what murder he's suspected of, but this is a murder suspect, and he is obviously refusing to give up. It was a really dangerous pursuit for quite some time, him going the wrong way on entrance ramps, which was really scary, but that's part of the damage you see on the back bumper. But that perfect spike strip really changed this pursuit, Chris, and that's when he slowed down, and it put law enforcement in command of this. And now it's just a wait and see. And boy, he is refusing.
Oh shit!
That's dangerous.
Close calls here. He's taking every opportunity to squeeze through here, despite the red light, going right through the red light, right through cross traffic here at Rosecrans Avenue, northbound on Main Street. You're right, David. That's when everything changed with that spike strip. It'll go down in the LAPD highlight reel for sure, or I should say CHP. I believe it was CHP. We'll have to double check that. I believe that was CHP that set up for that spike strip. Either way, great teamwork on the part of both LAPD and the CHP. It's one of those things that is, they're very difficult to pull off.
It's
and
true.
to do it in the middle of rush hour traffic on a busy freeway at this time of the day, I mean, kudos to those guys, because it really has
Sky Map
minimized the
Reckless
danger here,
Top
as he is
5,
not
presented
able
by
to
State Farm.
accelerate the way he was earlier on in
Holy.
this pursuit, doing triple-digit speeds down the freeway. Now we're fortunate that he's on surface streets. He can't go much faster than he is right now. So LAPD, again, with time on their side, they don't have to really stress too much until he comes to a stop, and then they will be ready for anything at the conclusion of this pursuit. Hopefully, it'll end as peacefully as we are watching here, because right now, it's kind of giving him the opportunity for his adrenaline to start coming down.
Look at this shit. What a
He's able
shithole.
to kind of,
Fucking
push the
strict
pedal to the metal
takeovers.
and not really get very far. LAPD in the same position now, with a lot more opportunity to triangulate, have units ahead of him here, and even potentially at some point possibly hand this off to another group of units, another group of LAPD units. They will do that frequently. After a certain amount of time, they want to replace those LAPD units to keep everybody fresh and make sure everybody has got the endurance that they need to bring this to an end. I mean, again, at these speeds, if it's a full
helicopter car
this could go on
cage
for a while without really putting anybody else in danger. A slow-speed pursuit up Main Street,
That's not a bad
even though he's riding on rims. I mean, again, unless he does something dramatically more aggressive, they could just kind of
What
ride
about a
this
cage
out. Now
of
doing about
nets?
26 miles per hour
It
on
drops
Main Street
on
here,
the
coming up
car,
on 130th.
and it wraps
and,
it.
I would say for about the last 5 to 10 minutes, he's really been going in a straight line.
Yeah, he can't go. So let's show you that wrong way video first. Look at this, the audacity as he turns into oncoming traffic. That is an entrance ramp that he's using as an exit. And look at the first thing he runs into are two huge 18-wheelers. He gets by them, but it's when he tries to squeeze through this oncoming pickup truck. You'll see his back bumper hangs up on the bumper of that pickup truck, and that's what started the damage to his back end of his vehicle. He keeps going quite violently and quite dangerously.
That's right, not give a fuck.
It was soon after that he got onto the 91 freeway and he runs into those spike strips, which changed everything. But there you can see it, him trying to squeeze through, putting a lot of people in danger and squeezing. This is near the port of Los Angeles,
not
by the way,
again,
so
please.
there's always a bunch of traffic there and huge trucks just like that one. Somebody trying to direct traffic. You'll notice law enforcement is not behind him. Chris, you made a great point, which I didn't realize. If he goes the wrong way on a ramp like that, law enforcement will not follow him. Is that correct?
Most of the time, that is exactly right. They will not make that turn because it just puts too many other people
this
in
rim
danger.
is
Now, at some
tanking.
point, either one of those officers did go the wrong way carefully, not at the speeds he was going, or there were other officers near that near where traffic was being directed there. It could be that another officer picked it up. In any event, the original group of pursuing officers were able to get off of that ramp safely and get back involved here. Again, they've been very fortunate here that they've been able to keep up with him. Again, the speeds have also allowed for that. Ever since he pulled that maneuver, the speeds have been very manageable. And so they were all able to keep up with him, but you're right. They weren't able to go the wrong way the way he was, especially at those speeds. He got very desperate. He either saw something that spooked him, or it was just a last-minute erratic move to try and lose that pursuing officer.
It was like,
but for whatever reason,
officers aren't allowed to go against traffic, and you see 6 of them go back.
Whether he's familiar with the bridge or not, I cannot tell you how familiar he is with this part of town, but he did make a very erratic move that ever since he pulled that maneuver, the speeds have been very fortunate here that they've been able to keep up with him. Again, the speeds have also allowed for that. Ever since he pulled that maneuver,
what the fuck?
Speeds go the wrong way and try and lose those officers.
What the fuck is this guy doing?
He did that. He went right through the traffic cones and started some really desperate maneuvering. And now it appears that he's gotten that out of his system. He's now just riding this car until the wheels come off.
He's looking for a swap 100%.
He doesn't have much choice. Here's earlier video of when the first tire came off of his vehicle, his Toyota. That was after the spike strip. And that was the first, I guess, the first of several signs that his car was falling apart. We saw the bumper there for quite some time after he hit that truck as he was coming off that on-ramp. So the bumper, he's been holding onto that dangly bumper for a while now.
Yep, now coming up past Imperial Highway here, northbound, still on Main Street. We've now covered quite a bit of distance since he got off of the 110 freeway. He's now made his way all the way back into South LA, now past the 105 freeway, and the slow-speed chase continues.
School zone.
And LAPD just following now at a safe distance,
trying to, at the very least,
notify these busy intersections that there is police activity coming in their direction. Again, because of the slow speeds, we're at less risk of a high-speed crash. You know, he could very easily T-bone as he moves through these busy intersections through cross traffic. He's slowing down for the red lights, giving traffic an opportunity, waiting for his space. But if he was going much faster, which I imagine if he had 4 tires to work with and really accelerate this vehicle, he would be speeding through some of these intersections, and that would put so many more lives in danger. I would be so much more afraid right now if we were speeding through these busy intersections. But that spike strip has accomplished so many goals all in one fell swoop, and now he's just kind of riding. Look at this, going the wrong way, still swerving around over the double yellow lines to get around
still
traffic
steering properly, man.
108th Street,
and on a front-wheel drive, what the fuck is this coming out of, man?
But not really willing to sit in any kind of traffic. He just wants to get this vehicle as far as he can. Again, he's not going to get very far. We kind of know, we have an idea of how this is going to end. We just don't know how long it's going to take.
It must be slidey
or
as heck,
if he's
though.
going to be cooperative at the end of it. But you can now see that it's just a matter of time until this vehicle gives up on him. And so he's just basically using every last bit of metal.
Yeah, and let's be clear, we still don't know if for sure he has a weapon, but we have to handle this very carefully. We have some video of that spike strip we've been talking about. Look at him going down the 91, and watch closely right here. They send out, there's a spike strip. He hits it perfectly. He was flying down the shoulder, Chris. They had traffic stopped on the 91. He took the bait. He went down the shoulder where they had the spike strip set up.
He even
and he
stopped
went
the
right
traffic.
over it. It's like they
Holy
knew what he was
Chad
going
Lord,
to
I
do.
can't.
And they gauged it perfectly. One more time, showing you the traffic stop, the spike strip right there. The one space that he can squeeze through, and that's where the spike strip was, and he took it. And to his demise, that's what led to the downfall of 3 of his 4 tires.
Textbook,
and now it's a waiting game.
And that
Well,
really
even
took a
more
lot of
textbook,
planning
low-key.
if you think about it, because there was a lot of traffic on the freeway, and that means that CHP officers or LAPD had to get ahead of the traffic and slow down the traffic, the speed to a stop. So that was a lot of.
Yo, you guys don't know nothing about it.
Yeah, I would love to
You guys don't know
see the
nothing about
background
it.
on
You're
that.
not gonna
I don't
cancel
know
me.
if it exists, but that is a good story to tell when this thing does come to an end. Are you dealing with some flight restrictions, Chris?
We are. I was just going to tell you, he is now driving away from us. We've now passed Century, and he is continuing northbound on Main Street. So you're going to see him kind of ride off into the distance, and we'll see at what point we may decide to just kind of come around LAX's airspace and meet up with him further north, closer to downtown. We may have to lose sight of him momentarily. We'll see how far he takes it. We're going to try and keep the camera on him. But the one thing that we're starting to notice as word gets out on the various apps and Citizen, we see a lot more people trying to catch a glimpse of the slow speed pursuit. It's slow enough that they can kind of come outside and pull their cell phones out. And we're seeing a lot more people almost cheering him on at some points as they come through the neighborhood here. So LAPD now has that factor to deal with as well. Folks coming out trying to participate or catch a glimpse of the slow speed chase here on Main Street on a Thursday afternoon. It is the excitement of the day in this part of town, and some folks obviously trying to catch a glimpse. But in any event, you can see that original pursuit package still in tow here. They are now right on his tail. He is well aware of his predicament, and that car still crawling along northbound past 88th place. As he gets smaller, we're going to have a little bit of heat in the way here. You'll see the picture start to get a little blurrier. And in a couple minutes here, we'll probably come around, try and meet up with him. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that now while we have the chance, especially at these speeds. We might be able to position ourselves
so because
the
airport's over
opposite
here,
side.
airplanes
Now
going from
getting into
here.
oncoming lanes of traffic
This
again. Every time he
lane
comes up
is
on these smaller
no
red
air.
lights,
So PD
he
is
goes over the
chasing
double yellow lines, gets,
media is
gets
stuck
right
behind
back
it,
onto the correct
and then
side.
they're
But
going
he
to
still is going
circle
northbound. I
around.
think the likelihood of him turning is starting to diminish. He's going to take the straight up Main Street, most likely, very possible, and most likely right back to the original neighborhood where this pursuit started over an hour ago. So we're going to lose sight of him momentarily. We're going to try and keep the camera on him. You can see all of those flashing lights right behind him here on Main Street.
This is
and we will
how many meters?
try and do our best to keep a visual of him.
It's like a 2-kilometer zoom.
Just past Manchester. That was that last major intersection, if you're familiar with that neighborhood. And there's a lot of folks out and about right now as this slow speed pursuit goes right on
Only
by.
available now
and
on iPhone.
We're staying on top of this because if you're just joining us, this is a murder suspect. This is something that police and law enforcement are taking very seriously. They're not going to let this guy go. And now that they had that perfect spike strip, they don't have to let him go because he cannot maneuver or move fast enough to be that much of a danger to society. What is the big question is this guy armed? And what's going to happen when he can't go any further? What is the reaction going to be? Is he going to give up, or is he going to run, or is he going to fight? And we have to be aware that these possibilities
we won't be able to see any of that unless you guys zoom and get in close, man.
Giovanna, this guy, he is on his last breath as a free man, and he could be desperate.
As you were talking, David, the man on the right of your screen was waving his hands and sort of shaking his arms, apparently egging him on.
As the plane's clear,
celebrating him.
and they're giving
we
clearance,
don't know,
and now they can go.
Guess, but
the other planes coming in are farther back.
Law enforcement is in touch with him in his car. We know he has a cell phone, or maybe he's talking to family. Hopefully they're trying to talk him down, convince him, persuade him to turn himself in and end this peacefully.
Yeah, the tread on both front tires is gone. The back tire, we believe one of the back tires is also punctured. It still has tread. If there is one functioning tire, so be it, but maybe both are punctured. We're not quite clear yet. Nevertheless, you could see the damage on this vehicle. One is from a collision with a pickup truck when he was going the wrong way on an entrance ramp. But the rest of the damage looks to be from that spike strip.
They're not
and
at the airport, but it's in the airport.
He does try to turn.
Oh, damn!
Look at that. Right towards you, Chris.
Westbound Florence,
look at the road.
left turn with no tires, and he just randomly made a left turn on Florence. I should tell you, we may actually lose sight of him now because unfortunately we were in the process of transitioning through LAX's airspace. The control tower was nice enough to allow us to follow Main Street.
No more libel or slander chat. It is confirmed not David. It is not. Stop saying this shit in the chatting box
here as he ventures back into the Bravo airspace towards the airport, and that's gonna inhibit our ability here in just a second. Unfortunately, he made that turn. This is gonna give us a real problem here. He's gonna disappear behind these buildings. LAPD fortunately able to make that turn with him. We're listening to the radio to see if they have any luck, but a random turn there at the very last second, making a turn off of Main Street onto Florence and getting closer now to the 110 freeway. It looks like he's underneath the 110 freeway, underneath the Harbor Freeway, coming out the other side. And
is that the classic? Is that the classic?
Is going to put him. Oh, look at this! Getting back on the freeway.
What?
He might be getting back. He might be getting back on the freeway. That's not an entrance ramp.
But it's not. It's not Jack in the Box.
Yeah, that's this northbound Flower, which runs parallel to the 110 freeway here. But he will eventually run into an entrance ramp that will put him onto the freeway if he decides to take it. So look at him. He's coming up southbound on Florence, and now potentially. You have to wonder why he's making these turns. Is he deciding?
Chat, pitting is risky. They don't know if he's armed or not.
He's approaching the on-ramp here. So
we don't know how unhinged. The stakes are too high for this criminal. They're too high.
He's got an idea of
it's
where he
unpredictable.
Wants to go.
If they pit him and it looks towards them,
right there,
they could be put in high risk. They don't want to do it.
Looks like he is going to take it. Wow. We will see here if LAX allows us to reverse course, because now we are behind him once again. We've transitioned northbound. Now we are
the stakes of
just
someone
south of
T-boning even higher. I agree. I agree.
Along the 110
I think this guy's
freeway,
I think this guy's running
put
scores.
himself in a position where he's in even thicker traffic. I mean, we're further into the rush hour than we were earlier, and you can see a much bigger backup on the southbound side of the 110 freeway. I presume he'll make his way over to those express lanes again, but he's not going to go very fast.
As we look over the clock, chat, we're seeing
those wheels are giving
it is
out on
4:48. What's that close to? 5, 9 to 5, 9 to 5.
Look at this. Look at this. This truck is trying to get in the way, trying to get him to stop. Or we thought. It appeared that way anyway.
Yeah, maybe.
Nah, he's just changing lanes,
chat. He's decided to get off the freeway.
Guys, he was just
so now LAPD
going. He just changed directions. What about it, man?
Manchester Avenue. It certainly appears as though he's making this up as he goes along here, but now we are.
Is he not allowed to change his mind? Really?
On Manchester Avenue, and we will see if he comes up through this intersection, decides to maybe either make a U-turn or continues westbound. I do not see him yet. He's going to be behind the tree right there, and it looks like he is making a turn.
Still turning probably. Crazy.
Now eastbound turn. Eastbound turn on 84th. LAPD right behind him here.
Helis are stuck behind airplanes
right now. Once again. And if the game of cat and mouse
the suspect is playing it deliberately inside the airplane zone.
Actually, looks like he's
it's cutting off both media and NPD.
On 84th, I believe, coming up on Broadway, and almost looks, if you notice that, guys, it almost looks like he's able to pick up a little bit of speed there, the way he went through that intersection. He's
PD,
going through a residential neighborhood now. LAPD right behind him.
Right? Media's over here.
Eastbound.
Airplanes coming here.
84th.
Yeah,
so
hard
they
to see
can't
him
push through
from this view now.
the plane lanes.
You
the
know,
guys
we hear from law
deliberately
enforcement officers
in between
that pursuit suspects will often return to the neighborhoods that they're most comfortable with, that they're most familiar with. So maybe that is what we're seeing here.
I think I said 84th. It actually appears that he is still on Manchester. So he's eastbound on Manchester. And LAPD now managing another vehicle that's trying to get involved in this pursuit. So they've got another complicating factor here. Not sure what the relationship is here, but there's another vehicle that is attempting to follow. We have multiple reports of that now as he makes a northbound turn
by a filter on the camera
off of Manchester. If you notice, guys, he's now done a complete circle here in South LA. So he is definitely making it up as he goes along, maybe providing an opportunity for potentially another spike attempt on those rear wheels. But, you know, at this point, guys, I think they've had several opportunities.
Chad, the guy on the camera was a juicer.
For that pit maneuver.
Who the juicer? You're not getting this on video.
Seen it yet tells me they have made the decision that it might be too dangerous with whatever information they're working with.
That's crazy!
I think we would have seen it already, and under these circumstances, the fact that we haven't tells me they may be just looking to continue the course here without a pit maneuver. So
W juicer.
The east side of the 110 freeway, northbound on Main Street, north of Manchester. We've been here before. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think he has actually been right along this stretch of Main Street twice already. So this might even be the third time that he's driven through this neighborhood right along Main Street.
I was saying earlier that sometimes pursuit suspects will return to areas that they're familiar with, neighborhoods that they're familiar with. Maybe that's what we're seeing here. And it's such a tricky act, really, for law enforcement. They have to obviously stay on top of this suspect. He's wanted for murder. That's what we know. We don't have any details, but they also have to keep the public safe. So it's very difficult for them to balance the two. And time is on their side. They can continue following him at slow speeds for a while.
Hopefully get him fatigued to where he just grows tired of this and decides to give up.
Yeah, at some point he will get tired, or the vehicle will run out of gas. One or the other, or another mechanical issue, considering the condition of the vehicle. The other obstacle that they are working with, or the other factor, I should say, is that you have people in the neighborhood who are attempting occasionally to get involved here, and that really complicates things at the end of the pursuit, because at some point they're going to pull their weapon on the suspect to make sure that that he cooperates, and they don't want to have to use force. But in the event that there is a crossfire situation, they can't afford to have anybody else in their way with cell phone cameras.
What is he doing?
So now he has made another turn here from northbound Main. He's now going eastbound on 71st Street.
It's the bike guy, classic.
Here, doing about 25, 30 miles per hour as LAPD continues to make their way eastbound with him here. He is just kind of taking them along for a joyride at this point, enjoying his final moments of freedom.
All right, and we will continue to watch this pursuit. Eventually, if we can get this to come to an end, it's important because this is a murder suspect. We can't emphasize that enough. This is a very important pursuit that's going on right now.
How is this shit turning?
Trying to get this guy off the streets as he is barely moving along in a vehicle that has no tread. Oh, he's
wait, where's he going?
Taking another turn, weaving his way through this neighborhood.
There's no reason.
Exactly.
There's no reason for him to go there.
And that poses a real danger too, because if you notice, these are
he knows the area for sure, 100%.
Residential streets. So again, these are all factors that obviously LAPD has dealt with many hundreds of times. They're well trained, but it does complicate factors nonetheless. When you have these narrow streets in a residential neighborhood, you know, that's why we always say we would much rather see a dangerous pursuit on the freeway as opposed to a narrow residential area, because we just don't know what the suspect is capable of, and we've already seen him making several desperate attempts including putting the public at danger. Other motorists have been at risk during the course of this pursuit, even in head-on situations. He's already been in a collision. They have all that information. They know that he is desperate to get away. Now going through a red light here. He's going to be southbound on Avalon through 71st Street. And
at
again,
this point, I gotta say, the guy plays an end.
Southeast Los Angeles here at
Just pick the guy, do something.
With
the next week,
unknown amount of gas in the tank.
That's a good point. That could go on for quite some time. I was leading to the
why
fact
have
that there is a lot of
that?
news going on today, including some weather news this afternoon. Some severe weather, especially towards the desert and the Inland Empire, that we would love to get to eventually. We have another helicopter out in that area that is covering the weather. But of course, we want to see this come to a conclusion because this is a dangerous pursuit and this suspect will not give up. Nevertheless, law enforcement is taking it seriously and they are content on, at least so far, Chris, to see this guy just meander through the streets until he decides to give up.
Yeah,
he's continuously in a no-fly zone
for upwards of 30 to 40 minutes, where he has not had the luxury of really being able to accelerate. It's just kind of dragging that bumper along, riding the rims, grinding into the pavement, just trying to weave through some of the intersections. Occasionally, he'll go right through the red light. He'll swerve around into oncoming lanes like he is right here, getting right back on the right side here, and just taking these officers along for the ride.
Bro, if successful, you need someone to block him in front, get a gun, it's GG.
No,
even, that's not true.
Suspect who is presumed or suspected, I should say,
in
of
most
taking
hits,
the life of somebody. And
the
so
car is
just
disabled, the car comes to a stop.
We've seen during this pursuit, the crime that has been committed here, the original one, the other crimes that are associated with him. It is a dangerous situation, to say the least.
Go for a block against fully armed.
It's not over
It's why I said
until
earlier.
it's over. They don't know what they're going to be dealing with when he eventually comes to a stop. If he's desperate enough, they will be prepared for any situation. But it seems like a static situation when you cover these. What was a high-speed pursuit has now turned into a slow-speed pursuit, and what appears to be a static situation could change on a dime once he eventually comes to a dead stop.
We seen this guy earlier, no?
Like I said, it just isn't over till it's over, and when you see these people cheering him on,
I'm on to you, Juicer. I'm on to you,
because you just don't know how this is going to end. You see people crossing the street here. Some people came completely unknown about the pursuit, but they hear the lights and sirens coming through this part of South LA, and just knowing who is behind the wheel here, we know what they don't realize, and it is a dangerous person, to say the least.
At least he's stopping there at that intersection on a very busy street and letting some of the traffic go by, and law enforcement patiently watching him. Obviously, the ultimate scenario is for this to end peacefully no matter what, so they are willing to be patient about it and let that come to a conclusion.
They don't care, dude.
We are approaching Eyewitness News at 5 o'clock, and when we get to the 5 o'clock hour, we will show you some of the more dramatic moments within this pursuit, and you can see how dangerous it was. By joining it right now, you see it going at a very slow pace, but that is for very specific reasons. If this guy had the ability, he would definitely try to get away as quickly as possible in a very dangerous way, which we have been seeing. Chris, you're on the move again.
We are on the move. We've now been given clearance to transition southbound and hopefully meet up with him on the other side here as we transition over the 110 freeway. We're going to lose a visual here for a couple of minutes. The hope is that he either comes to a stop or continues in this direction, because obviously navigating LAX airspace is complicated and is a little bit tricky.
Over here for a while.
We're going to lose him for a little bit here, but what I can tell you is that as he continues the pattern that he's established, which involves a number of loops through this part of town, whether he continues the circle or if he continues southbound on Main Street, they
keep going like a
for another spike strip. So if they have the opportunity, if the pattern continues,
and
they will make another attempt at spiking those rear tires if they have not deflated already. Based on the ability to maintain control of the vehicle, I'm guessing that those rear tires are still doing a bulk of the work there, and so for that reason, they want to make sure they knock out all four tires. We know that the front two are gone. He's already riding on two rims. Now they want to attack that rear axle and make sure that they've done everything they could. And now I understand that the spike strip has been laid down. We'll see if he hits it. We may not be able to show it right away, but as we come around on the other side,
I
we'll
lost
be able
half the bet because
line up with him on Main Street. So
the
he's
plane
going down
went
Main Street.
past him, though.
We're
Hold
traveling
on.
down the 110 freeway.
It went past him,
When
though.
we get to the 105 freeway, we'll be able to cross over and hopefully see him coming southbound towards us as he continues. Now, if he continues southbound, that's one thing I'm hearing on the radio. He may have just made a westbound turn, possibly on Century, so we may have a glimpse of him coming towards us here as we transition through LAX's Bravo airspace. Just kind of keep an eye out for him, Josh, as we come up on Century.
Right?
We may see him coming towards us if we get lucky here.
P.D. Haley is gonna stall
All
down
right,
a
and
little
as
bit
we
there.
begin Eyewitness News at 5 o'clock now, the voice of Michelle Fisher, I'm joining David Ono as we continue to keep an eye on this wild pursuit that's been going on for about an hour now. I was in my office getting ready for the show, watching the coverage that's been ongoing, and just remarkable to see how at one point this vehicle was making these wild maneuvers and has now kind of been forced to slow down because of the condition of the vehicle, as you mentioned.
We are live broadcasting.
2 of those tires completely gone now. He's riding on rims for some time, and as you mentioned, maybe a second attempt at a spike strip to get the back tires disabled to hopefully eventually get this driver who is suspected of murder to stop at some point. You have to ask yourself, what is the goal here, after a certain point?
I think the goal is for this to end peacefully, and whatever that takes is what it takes. As Chris... Chris is maneuvering. That is the live picture on the left-hand side. He's moving around some LAX restrictions. What you see on the right-hand side is some of the video that we shot during this pursuit. This pursuit has 2 very different personalities. Very dangerous on the right-hand side, where he was flying down the freeway, sometimes in excess of 100 miles per hour. There you see it, and police right behind him. Then, with his maneuvering, you'll see him as he sways from one lane to another, and eventually he will get off the freeway, but as you can see, paying no attention to the close traffic. Here is where he goes the wrong way on an entrance ramp, and this is where you start to see, Michelle, where he endured some damage. He squeezed by these 18-wheelers, but it's right here where there is a pickup truck that he's going to try to squeeze between, and boom, he hits his back bumper. That's what rocks his...
Spike strip. Look at the spike strip. He's going around the spike, guys. Sorry to interrupt.
Go right ahead.
Mario Kart track. He's bumping up the fucking curb.
Strip on Avalon Boulevard, agitating the suspect a little bit as he swerved right around, unfortunately missing that spike attempt on the rear wheels. I apologize, David.
He curb boosted it
there, but we saw that spike strip laid down, and he almost struck it, but he was able, because of the slow speed here, he was able to kind of navigate around it. So we have picked it up once again, as you can see here, as he continues coming towards us. He's now going southbound on Avalon. He shifted over a block from Main Street, and he's now coming up on 116th towards the 105 freeway. In fact, now crossing Imperial Highway underneath the 105 freeway and coming out the other side here just south of the 105 freeway, David.
Yeah, so that spike strip was unsuccessful, but look at this spike strip. This is where everything changed. It was on the 91, and they hit it right there. That was a little bit late on the video, so you couldn't quite see the setup there, but they had stopped. CHP was successful in stopping all the traffic on the 91, forcing him to go up on the shoulder, and on the shoulder of the road is where that spike strip was laid out, and he went right down the shoulder over the spike strip, and almost immediately you see those front tires deflate, and minutes later you see the rubber come off. That is on the passenger side. The driver's side rubber had already come off, and so now he's dealing with metal on the asphalt on the front, at least. I thought the back tires were punctured, but it looks like they are not. That's a great shot right there, Chris, that you could get a clear shot of not only the driver, but the fact that those back tires are still inflated.
What's up with this? What's up with the passenger seat?
Especially that left rear fully inflated. Unbelievable to see that front left rim still almost intact.
Yo, look at the damage to the road.
Just driving on those rims, that rim is intact.
It's not a
I
body
would almost
bag
expect by now that we would have seen it start to fall apart, see metal flying off, and see those sparks kind of flying off the vehicle, but that's not happening. That rim, look at him gesturing towards the ice cream truck as he tries to put some distance between that primary unit here. You saw he was wearing some AirPods in his ear as we caught a glimpse through the driver's side window there. But now going back, I believe, underneath the 105 freeway, now going northbound on San Pedro. Northbound San Pedro Street, back in the opposite direction. Just past the 105 now, and he has done yet another loop.
Yet again.
A second
Everybody
spike
can't
strip
move.
attempt.
Plane coming.
Unfortunately, he was able to navigate around it, so those rear tires
man. I'm so over it.
Appeared to be well inflated, still doing the work here on this rear-wheel drive vehicle.
The beauty of the first spike strip really, has been that it has forced him to slow down significantly. And he is still driving, of course, as we're seeing, but not doing a lot of the dangerous maneuvers, weaving in and out of traffic as much, high speeding that he was doing for the first half of this pursuit. So that is... the beauty in what they were able to do in terms of disabling some of this vehicle. I'm just shocked that the rear bumper is still hanging on there.
What's in front, though, man?
And that thing is hanging on by a thread, too. By the way, you saw just a moment ago, he was going northbound and eventually saw another officer. It appeared that there was another LAPD officer setting
Look at the road damage, man.
Didn't quite have enough time, but he was able to go and make that turn anyways. Made a westbound turn, and is now on Main Street, northbound on Main Street, parallel with the 110 freeway, continuing at about the same speed, past 112th. And for a good amount of time now, we have been on these surface streets. Here comes another spike strip attempt. He goes right around that one as well. These officers doing a great job of predicting his next move, but again, because of these slow speeds, it gives him a little more time to prepare as well. So they kind of have an idea as he establishes this pattern. There are now LAPD units flooding this neighborhood, prepared for these turns almost, as they try and lay down a spike strip to bring those rear wheels to heel. And right now, they just haven't had much luck with those rear tires. But he is running low on fuel. We have to presume at this point that this vehicle is on borrowed time. You see smoke coming from underneath the vehicle. Those rims are getting very hot. If he continues braking, they're going to get very hot. And it's going to eventually give up on him. And as you mentioned, even that bumper, just hard to believe. It's hanging on by maybe one bolt at this point and still being dragged along. Main Street continues
Look at this.
northbound after doing several circles through South LA.
Him staying in the middle of these lanes allows him to see what is on the side. If he were tucked up against the right-hand side, perhaps officers would have a little bit better luck, but he knows that if he stays towards the middle, he can see who's on the right and who's on the left and react to it. In fact, we have video of that second spike strip attempt. Watch closely here, and he is coming up. There is a LAPD officer. He pulls a spike strip, and he digs a really hard turn. He almost got him, almost, but he reacted just in time, and he made a really dynamic maneuver and got around that spike strip. But they're trying,
another
Chris,
spike strip
another one. The third.
Yep.
Well, technically a fourth attempt. A fourth attempt.
It's at least the third or fourth, and again, same situation, right? He sees it, he's able to turn. In this case, he was able to go around it, and yet again, you see more people cheering him on. The longer this goes on, unfortunately, the more we start to see people try and come out and catch a glimpse, because as predictable as he's been for those officers with the spike strips, he's also been predictable enough for the folks in this neighborhood to come outside and, like I said, try and get a shot, try and post it online. But the joyride is continuing, unfortunately, just slow enough for him to evade these spike strips. It's a tough thing. You would like to see him going maybe a little bit faster, so he's got less time to maneuver. But the way he's been able to maneuver the vehial without those front tires is really amazing to me. In fact, a second ago I said that is a rear wheel vehicle, but I'm being told that that's a Toyota Tercel. It's actually a front wheel.
Oh my God, Chris!
Front wheel drive vehicle.
Get a hang of it, man.
Almost hard to imagine, guys, but
my goat is falling apart.
That means that front axle is doing a lot of work here with no tires. Pretty remarkable that that it's gone on this long. You know, just a couple of nights ago, we followed a pursuit that was well over an hour long in a GMC truck.
That's because
that
he was sleeping,
riding on
trying to get his 30 minutes.
Well
that's
into
all he gets, by the
11
way,
o'clock show,
per day.
And
they woke him up
wheels
with
just
a
came
cold
off. I mean,
towel.
literally, the rims
Straight
started
on the
falling
airplane,
apart. We saw
on the
chunks
heli.
of metal
Boom. You're
just
going, man.
falling off
Boom.
the vehicle.
As
and
always.
We're not seeing that today with this little compact Toyota. In fact, you know, from the last good shot we had of those front rims, they looked almost intact. And here comes, look at that, somebody, a pedestrian throwing garbage at the front of the vehicle, slowing them down a little bit. Here comes another LAPD officer with spike strips. He's not going to, he's trying to get around that. They didn't even lay it down. But now he's trying to go through this red light, weaving all over the road. This is going to start to do damage, I think. I think part of the reason those rims are intact is because he's been going in mostly straight lines. But that vehicle,
look at that. Filming,
just remarkable,
filming.
like I said, that it's still going on like this. Really, really crazy. But a good thing. I mean, thankfully that he's going as slow as he is, because we know that the person behind the wheel would be so much more dangerous had they not executed that first spike strip so well, so perfectly, really changing the dynamic of this entire pursuit, despite the fact that it's gone on as long as it has. But I have to reiterate, there's a reason we have not seen them employ a pit maneuver. They have made a conscious decision not to pit this guy, and that has most likely something to do with the information that they have on this suspect.
Yeah, we don't know if this suspect is armed or not. We know that it's a murder suspect, but we don't know if they have a firearm or what they have in the vehicle with them. So that would be, you know, an increased danger to officers to try to do, you know, a pit maneuver. And anything could happen after that. So a great point, Chris, to bring up in terms of why we haven't seen that, in case our viewers are wondering why officers don't try to just get in front of him and stop him that way.
Yeah, and all of those tactics, you know, like I said earlier, they vary from agency to agency, but they are very well calculated, and they train for this obviously all the time, both in the real world and on pursuit tracks that they have at the academy, and they are ready for any and all scenarios. We've just seen this so many times. We have multiple pursuits a day here in Los Angeles, and so this is something that they are used to. It's just a little bit unusual that we see it go on this long, and that's because of the crime that's been committed here. This is a murder suspect who they are treating with kid glove care and giving him every ounce of leeway possible, despite the fact that he has shown so much desperation just during the course of this pursuit today. We don't know when that homicide took place, but just during this pursuit, we have seen such dangerous behavior. They are treating him, again, with kid glove care to make sure they can minimize the risk to the general public. The whole point here is to continue this pursuit as safely as possible. And the fact that he is wanted for murder means they are not going to let up on him, but they're going to do this as safely as possible without putting the public in danger. And that's what we're seeing here. That is the reason this has gone on for well over an hour now. And you can see LAPD, again, flooding this neighborhood with units ready for a felony stop, ready with spike strips if the opportunity allows, and ready to protect the public on either end of the street.
He's going south, though.
He pulls
He's going
over
south,
or
though. I
stops
can't
the vehicle,
complain. Going back towards the camera.
So they will stop traffic at some point. When it comes to a stop, he's now making his way underneath the 110 freeway, back on the other side here, up Flower, making a westbound turn off of northbound Flower. And that may be, he's going to be either at 81st or 82nd Street, now heading towards Fig.
Don't you dare.
These are all streets, guys, that we have been on already. He's covered a lot of the same territory over and over again. So if some of these streets look familiar, trust your instincts. We've been here before. He has navigated these streets just in the last hour and is starting to repeat them as he just kind of makes up these maneuvers as the afternoon rolls on here.
Classic
again,
Figueroa
the 110
Street
freeway, now southbound on Figueroa Street.
As he's coming right towards you now, Chris, this does seem to be his familiar neighborhood, as we always see. He found his way back here. He's staying here now that he is on these streets and taking almost a circular motion or a square around this neighborhood, going back and forth, up and down these streets. I think the fact that the LAPD tried so many spike strips, it shows that they do or would like to see this come to an end, and they're trying to push it to that conclusion. And I guess knocking out those back two tires would be a choice thing to do to get him to be unable to accelerate or maneuver any further, and perhaps convince him to give up peacefully.
And I'm getting some more intel from some of our car enthusiasts that this is actually not a Tercel. It's a Toyota Corolla.
We already knew
hatchback
this.
That is probably an all-wheel drive. If I'm not mistaken, I think it comes in all-wheel drive or front-wheel drive.
That's what I
perhaps
said.
Just all-wheel drive. But that starts to
said.
explain why this is still going on and why he's able to navigate and maintain control of this car. It is because it is a capable compact sports car. It's an older model Corolla, I believe, but an all-wheel drive one, possibly nonetheless, that is really giving this car the endurance it takes to ride it out.
Have multiple.
Again, without tires
on
the front.
The GL, the GE.
Blown away by the endurance of this car. But as you can see, we're doing another circle here through South LA, now making a turn off of Hoover and thinking twice about it. Another random last-minute turn, now committing to Hoover, coming southbound past 88th Street. You can see all of those lights and sirens. Right behind him, all of the traffic at the intersection stopped at the red light there. And once again, he's coming towards us, now another block over to the west, down Hoover Street in this Toyota Corolla.
And we also had mentioned a bit earlier, too, it's not only the endurance and how long this has been going on without those front tires, but even the left and right turns that he's making. I mean, you have to imagine that on the asphalt and concrete there, as he's making those turns with metal on metal, that would have an impact on the vehicle, too. But we haven't seen it impacted much. Which is just mind-blowing to all of us. Yeah, the brakes are hanging in there. It's interesting, Chris and Michelle, that we've learned so much about vehicles by covering pursuits. We see ones that some vehicles perform incredibly well, others are exceptionally clunky. Unfortunately, this is a well-made vehicle that seems to be able to just continue to go, even though it is severely handicapped, but it doesn't stop him. And in the past, Chris, we mentioned this in the last hour, when we see tires go down to the rim, we often see sparks. And when the sparks hit, sometimes the car catches on fire. We haven't seen sparks on this vehicle just yet, although it does look like that back bumper is really starting to flop around there somewhat.
Omega Lol, where is blood
we
going?
had a little bit of distance, so we haven't really gotten a close look at the bumper in a while, but it does look like it's either close to falling off or maybe even off. It looks like we'll see here as he makes the turn. Yeah, now it's just hanging by a thread there. So still dangling,
dude, are they gonna
but just barely. And it certainly appears that, obviously, this all-wheel drive vehicle, he's able to maneuver it with those rear wheels doing a bulk of the work. But again, those rims are still spinning. They are still basically intact because he's not really going fast enough, although you can imagine just how hot they're getting, and that's why we occasionally see a little bit of smoke coming from underneath the vehicle. But now he's going back towards Figueroa. Look at this, picking up steam actually a little bit as he makes a wild last-minute turn northbound now on Fig Street, doing yet another circle back underneath the 110 freeway, and now northbound on Figueroa. All of those LAPD cruisers.
The whole car is disintegrating
absolutely comfortably able to make keep up with them here. Here comes another spike. Two officers with spike attempts, almost throwing it. Look at that. I think he dragged the spike. I think he dragged that spike with the rear wheel. That may have the desired effect if that rear wheel got caught on the spike strip. One of those officers, you saw two spike strips laid down there, and one of them, I think, got caught under the rear wheel, and he might even be dragging it. We'll have a little bit of clarity here in just a second. He may have left it behind, but I think it made contact and was now.
He's trying to get a car.
He's coming very close. Another close call with another motorist here, going around traffic southbound on Flower, coming towards us once again, right along the 110 freeway here. He is definitely animated now as he tries to figure out his next move. We're seeing a lot more turns, a lot more aggressive behavior behind the wheel as each and every one of of these spike strip attempts kind of gets his adrenaline going once again. Now underneath the 110 freeway, I thought maybe he might even think about getting back on the 110 freeway, but he's obviously familiar with LA rush hour traffic and is not willing to get involved in that mess again. So he's going to stay on surface streets and once again continuing this circle around South LA. And look at that. It does look, I can't say for sure, guys, but it looks like in addition to that bumper, I think he is still dragging that spike strip. Familiar with LA rush hour traffic and is once again to get involved in that mess again. So he's going to stay on surface streets and once again continuing this circle around
the effort by that police officer to toss that spike strip towards him as he was trying to maneuver away from them. And if he was successful, then maybe at least that driver's side back tire might be deflating. Hopefully it is, and it does seem to be a little bit more difficult for him to maneuver the vehicle. Maybe it's just me, you know, making that up.
No, it is.
It does seem to be a little bit more difficult for him to make these turns now.
Yeah, but I
don't know. I mean, it almost looks like it's to me. It almost looks like it's had no effect. To be quite honest,
the back wheels don't turn.
He's just zigzagging his way through now, and it almost appears to me that he's going a little bit faster. So he's probably going as fast as it'll let him go. But it just does not seem to be here. He's another truck backing up here as he navigates a narrow residential street. But the mobility of that car does not appear to be affected by this. For the first time, it almost looks like he's coming to a stop here. Officers with their door open as the vehicle appears to have come to a stop here. They have officers in front of him and officers behind him. He does not have anywhere to go here at the intersection of Main Street and 92nd. It has now come to a stop. Officers with their guns drawn out of their vehicles. We do not have good eyes on the suspect, but you can see that officer right there on the left-hand corner of your screen, left-hand side of your screen, now instructing that suspect to get out of the vehicle, and we will see if he cooperates here momentarily. You can see there was an LAPD officer waiting at the other end of that street, and that was enough for him to bring the vehicle to a stop. Maybe even setting up for another spike strip there had he continued through, but in any event, it looks like he's blocking the entire roadway. That's a very narrow residential street. That's 92nd Street off of Main.
Fucking drive the heli, man.
The driver is still in the vehicle. You can now see behind that light pole, the vehicle has indeed come to a stop. It looks like this pursuit is coming to an end, but as we said earlier, and as we always say, it ain't over till it's over.
Yeah, how is this going to come to an end? And clearly he is still in the vehicle. It doesn't appear that he is cooperating at all, but at least he's come to a stop. And this is where, Chris, we have been saying it could get really tricky, depending on whether he has a weapon or not. And also, the police officers know that this is a murder suspect. He is considered a dangerous person. So how they handle that could be due to what they know about him. And as you said, they may have more information that we don't know when it comes to how they apprehend him and how they handle him.
Absolutely. In fact, what they are not going to do in this situation, we can say almost with certainty, they will not approach that vehicle because of the crime here. Now, it almost looks like the driver's side door is opening. We will see how he behaves. What will not happen, what I was about to say, is that they will not approach him until he shows signs of cooperating.
I see hand.
They will not tackle him.
Hands up.
They will form a perimeter, and if he decides to run for it, they'll be ready at every juncture here. But in any event, it looks like he is putting his hands up in the air. He understands that time is up, and this pursuit is now over. He steps out of the vehicle, stepping away from that Toyota with his hands up in the air, clearly visible, as the suspect cooperates with those LAPD units. They will now treat this very carefully as they place him under arrest after a lengthy
I feel like his phone is a big telltale sign.
This pursuit has had it all.
No.
And it looks like he is showing
the fact that he did all this to throw his phone safely,
that he does
it
not
might be
have
related
a weapon in his
to the
waistband,
crime
throwing off
at
his
hand.
baseball cap, and now giving up about as peacefully as you could possibly expect. They will approach him here momentarily, or they will ask him to walk backwards. We'll see which they choose here, but that vehicle appears to be empty. The suspect now appears
he might have been deleting things on his phone while
from several miles away.
He wasn't texting; he was deleting on his phone.
Shot here, but you can see there are people in their backyards trying to catch a glimpse of what's going on, either watching it on their phones or hearing about it on the radio, and now trying to see what all the commotion's about here, and that is really the worst nightmare for law enforcement. Look at them approaching the vehicle. They're making sure the vehicle's clear, even with the suspect as he is now on his knees. They now make sure that he was the only one inside that vehicle, and now approaching him with an arrest team, with his hands on his head, handcuffs being placed on the suspect, and this pursuit is officially over.
Wow.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, after about an hour and a half long pursuit, right?
And a peaceful ending at that, which is great. They handled this perfectly.
Yeah, we always like to see things end peacefully, no one hurt. So that is good news there, this pursuit again, that for a murder suspect who's now being taken into custody.
So many people, Jesus.
We do want to move on to some other news that we've been following today. Right now, reaction tonight with Disney ABC taking late night host Jimmy Kimmel off the air, quote, indefinitely.
There is outrage from some saying that this is caving to political pressure and an assault on free speech. And our Mark Cota-Robles is live in the newsroom with all the details of this.
I was watching that, man.
And we're here for the...
What the